everybody, welcome back to the channel. So I don't do too many reviews on this channel, or too many videos on this channel at all, because whatever, but sometimes there's a momentous occasion, and a lot of times when I do a review on something that's cool, I like to pull in my boy Levi. I'm not going to ask for applause this time, because it was weird last time. And for once, I was going to say that me and Levi are going to finally do a video on my channel where our minds aren't expanded. But I only would have been able to say that about half an hour ago. It's fine, I'm going to do this.
Okay.
But here we go. So anyways, years ago, back in 1984, there's gonna be more edits there. In 1984, there was a cartoon on TV called Transformers, and that was a cartoon movie we watched. And at the end of the first season of Transformers, there was an episode in which Hound cast a giant hologram of a robot to scare Devastator off, if you remember correctly.
Yes.
That robot retroactively got the name Halonix Maximus, and he was in that episode for 30 seconds, maybe, if that.
Yeah.
And you know what that means?
Means that Mike has to have it in his collection.
Mike has to have it in his collection. So fast forward decades into the future, it's the year 2022. There's a company called Liketoys.
It is the year 2022.
It is the year 2022. So fast forward to the year 2022, and there's a company called Liketoys that tells people, hey, we have Halonix Maximus for order. And you know what I said when I found that out, Levi?
I'm gonna order that.
I said that, but you know what else I said?
What?
Shit. I contacted Liketoys, I put my order in, and a couple of months later, it showed up here on my doorstep. One thing I want to point out, and I don't know how many packages that you got from overseas, from China.
Mm-hmm. Not many.
Everybody that lives in China must get a hell of a deal on packing tape.
Yeah.
Because every package I ever got from China looked like exactly like this one, with about 4 miles of packing tape on it.
Every square inch.
Every square inch. It's time to crack this thing open. We got an LED controller here. Mm-hmm. You don't have to answer me, it's okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
We got the head, and it's a really nice looking face sculpt, by the way. Attached to the neck, and there is an LED inside there. We got an arm, very nice. We got another arm. We got the body here. We got another LED. This one has some tape wrapped around it. I'll explain that in a minute. We got some legs. We got the weapons. We got the weapons pack here, and a battery that wasn't actually included, but I threw it in the box. All right, so I want to explain this bit about the head real quick. So this is the neck piece. This is the head piece. There's a space inside the head piece. He sent along 2 LEDs, which are going to light up the eyes, as you'll see in a second. This first one just comes bare. The other one has a piece of tape around it. Reason being is that the one without tape has a little bit of give. It really doesn't matter, because once you have the neck attached, as you'll see, like there's nowhere for the LED to go. But this one with the tape on it does fit in a little bit snugger, which I'm not gonna do because I won't be able to get it out very easy because I already did it once. So I actually put the battery inside. This one, the battery is a CR2025. So you put one of those inside the LED light, and then you put another one inside the remote control. And as you can see, it lights it up. And I'll do it again once we got the whole thing put together, but there it is with the eyes lit up. And she's off, she's on. So that's kind of cool. So let's piece this thing together. Just a note from Lionel Hutz, who is the guy that I contacted through Liketoys. He did tell me that once I attach everything, that I really shouldn't take it apart. So it probably fits really snug. That's why I didn't already put it together, but it's kind of self-explanatory. You got these two big pegs here, and then you have these slots on the side of the leg, and they're gonna slide right into there. So again, I'm doing this for the first time, so we'll see how it goes. It's tight, but it doesn't feel scary yet. Here we go. So we got one on, and then let's get this other one. It's gonna go the same way. Let's get this one out of the way a little bit. There we go. And they're on. So we got that. Let's see. So we got left arm. So there's these two kind of tab type things there on the side of the arm, and then you got these two slots on the side of the torso. So that is going to slide in from the top. Same thing, pretty nice snug fit, but not scary to put in, so that's cool. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Those two are gonna fit into those two slots. And that fits right in there. Then we got the neck piece. We'll put the LED in there. And then you can see there's those two notches out of the side of the inside of the head there, and the front of the neck is the one that has the longer piece on it, so that's going to go far or into the front, I should say, and that'll kind of snap into place there. So, and then you're gonna slide that right into there, and Halonix Maximus, it is complete. So then we got the weapons kit. So all of them have these 5mm. No, actually these got 5mm pegs on them, these two, and then these two have these tabs on the side. And if I turn them around, you'll see that he's got holes on the back of the shoulders. And the tabs facing the inside of the gun is how they go in, and they just fit very nicely into those two. These weapons have a hinge on them, so they could both go straight up or be pointed towards the front, a la Predaking style. We got these two smaller double-barreled cannons, and they have a 5mm peg, and there is a hole right there on the side of the shoulder, so those will go in there. I'm assuming they could probably point any which direction because you can swivel them. Same thing on the other side. And then we got these last two. These last two guns here, they also have a hinge on them, so they could be straight or pointed ahead. And Those can go either in the 5mm peg on the top of the shoulder, straight ahead, or they can go in this hole in the back. And you can have them facing, again, upward or pointed towards the front. So I'm gonna get this guy. One more gun. I like having them on the back of the shoulders. So there he is. He's all put together. Halonix. I didn't even see him from the front yet. So do this new criminal a little bit. There we go. There he is. All right, so let's go through articulation real quick. So got the head, has a little bit of up range and a whole lot of down range, which is very cool. And that is on a swivel. We have an ab crunch, a pretty considerable ab crunch. It's just tension, but seems to make it'll hold pretty well. Let's get the arms out of the way here. You have a waist swivel, which will go 360. The shoulder articulation. So I'm going to take these guns off the back. This would be a little better for articulation if I had the guns on the top of the shoulders, but for now I'm just going to take them off. So you got shoulder articulation that gets actually a little past 90 degrees, which is pretty good, and it's on a ratchet, as you can hear. You got the ratchets, and that can go 360 all the way around. I think the guns are just out of the way, so you can get all the way around on that. It's a nice strong ratchet, and it can actually go up and out too as well, so that's good. And we got bicep swivel, single jointed elbow for 90 degrees. We got a wrist swivel. We got in and out motion on the wrist, which is really cool. You don't really see that a whole hell of a lot on many figures. Fingers are all individually articulated. Thumbs on a ball joint, and we got one hinge there, and then the rest of the fingers are all, I think those are all ball joints at the base, and then you got 2 joints each for each finger, so that's nicely articulated, and it feels pretty good. So same thing on the other side. Leg articulation. Let's get these arms out of the way. Leg articulation, it comes out. No ratchets coming out, so it's not gonna like hold on its own, but you know, when the hell are you ever gonna do that? Gets forward to about 90 degrees and back, not quite 90 degrees, but anything you could possibly want. Let's see, we got hip swivel. We got a single jointed knee that gets you about 90 degrees. And then the feet. So we got the foot goes forward and backward, which is nice. And you got the ankle rocker, which is as much as you could possibly want. It actually goes the opposite way a little bit too. No swivel, but it got forward and backward and side to side. So that is the articulation for this guy. Size comparison. With Masterpiece Bumblebee 2.0, MP Hound, MP Optimus 2.0, and Toy World Devastator. So this whole thing is 3D printed. I'm not even sure if I mentioned that at the beginning of the video, but it's like beautifully done. Like I've seen 3D stuff done before. This is, you know, as smooth as you can get. You can still see the horizontal lines and everything and stuff, but that's to be expected. But as far as like sculpt goes, man, they did a really nice job. And I think that's a little bit of, yeah, that's paint right there, that light blue. The rest of everything is filament. The face, I think the face is just gray filament as well. I think the only actual paint on it is this blue spot right here, this light blue spot at the waist. But that being said, and this is another thing I kind of left out, but these parts on the legs can go in and out to your preference. I think I kind of like when they're out. But yeah, nicely sculpted, even from the back. Got a lot of nice sculpt work. Those are cool, like those pistons on the back of the legs and stuff like that. But I mean, you know, they at least paid attention to the back. You know, they put a little bit of detail on it. I'm just gonna show off these couple of gimmicks real quick. There's two of them. First one is the lights in the head. I'm gonna turn them on, turn the LEDs on, just turn these lights off for a second so you can see it. So there he is lit up. Oh, that's kind of cool. The light actually, oh, you know what? Now that's what the tape is for. So it doesn't shine down onto his neck, although it looks like his head's taken off. So, all right, so there you go. The tape one, I guess, helps out with the fit, but also keeps the light only at the eyes. So I might actually have to switch this one out for that other one. And then the other gimmick, and this is actually kind of dope. You can see here it's got the seam at the wrist. So that opens up. And he's actually got Gatling guns in here, and if you rotate them a little as you're pulling forward, it'll snap into its spot, and it rotates. And he's got those in both wrists. So that was actually a really cool touch, I thought, you know, because this he did not have in the cartoon, but it was just something that they added in, which I thought was cool. All right, so I just figured out something as we were messing around with this thing. So when I took the head off, there's a spot in there that is the exact same shape of this LED, and I realized that's why they sent the two LEDs, and that's why one of them had the tape around it. So the one that has the tape around it goes in the head, and the tape is what's going to block the light from coming out the bottom of the head to keep it eyes only. The other one is going to drop into that chest. I don't know if it goes on when you tap it, but it always goes on. So that's gonna go in there, drop in the chest, and I'm gonna plug the head back in. I'm gonna turn these lights off, and we'll turn him back on. Oop. And there we go, there's the eyes light up, chest lights up. It's pretty dope. So we continue to mess with it and found this other hinge here, and this reveals a spot in his chest, and that is what lights up. There we go. Damn, that looks cool, Levi. Look at that shit.
Did this open up in the show? In that episode?
I don't believe so.
Oh.
But it's cool anyway. Yeah. Artistic license, Levi. All right, Levi, it's time for final thoughts. So my final thoughts on here, this is sculpted awesome. Like, it looks great. It looks like the original character from the cartoon, but they've definitely taken like a little bit of artistic license with some of the detail and stuff, which I love. I actually wish the Masterpiece line was doing more of that like it did back in the day. So yeah, everything's sculpted really well. The face sculpt, I think, is money. Articulation, there's a couple places where I think this thing like does stuff better than some of the Masterpiece and third-party stuff, like where like your ankle rocker doesn't go just outward, it can go inward as well, which I think is awesome. I love that the hands can go in and out. That's something that a lot of them don't have. They didn't just mail it in, you know what I mean? They did a really good job. There's ratchets everywhere. I would say that the only weak joint that mine has is the ab crunch. It's a little, it's tension, and it feels like when you get it all the way forward, it would stick, but anywhere in between is going to be kind of tough. So that's something I tried tightening it. I tried tightening the screws, and that didn't really do anything, so I'll probably end up putting a little bit of Kiki on there. That being said, it's still pretty good. Everything else is top notch. That's the only joint that isn't like on the money with this thing, but it has ratchets everywhere else. He's got a lot going for him. It was really well done, and these are the same people that are doing that 4-foot Metroplex. So, and that's going to be an actual mass-produced like ABS plastic and die cast and all that kind of stuff.
So you said this thing was 3D printed. What kind of material is it made out of?
It's just the filament. It's just 3D filament. I'm not sure what kinds of film. I'm not totally well versed on 3D printing, so I don't know what kind of different filaments there are, but I know it's just 3D printed filament.
Now, like including the ratchet joints?
Ratchet joints, a lot of the ratchet joints, yeah, are the actual same, it's the same material.
So looking at the ratchet joint here,
yeah.
So it looks like it's just got the teeth, and then it's got the bar here that I guess goes against the teeth to create the ratchet joint.
Right.
Like my question is like how sturdy is this piece here, this black piece? Like, you know, I mean, over time, and I know, you know, for you it's going to be sitting on your shelf. You know,
right,
for most people
right.
it's going to be just sitting on the shelf.
Yeah.
But you know, my question is like how durable is that going to be over time?
It feels to the touch, it feels like another piece of 3D printed material. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a valid question, and I'm not really sure what the answer is.
Yeah. Overall, yeah, no, it's a good looking piece. It's I think it's going to be a nice addition to any completist.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's. You know, I was going to get to the end and be like, you know, is this a recommend? Well, of course this is a recommend. There's nobody else that makes this thing on the planet. So if you're a sicko like me, or
have to have every robot that's ever featured in a Transformers episode, no matter how short amount of time, like how much screen time it gets,
is an absolute recommend.
So this is the post-nut clarity section of the review here, and I've had a chance to mess with them for an extra couple days and kind of get to know it a little better. I just want to go over a couple slight issues that my particular copy had. The shoulder joints were extremely tight, but that was easily remedied by a little bit of WD-40, so now those work perfectly fine. One issue that mine has, we did touch on it a little bit, but it's worth repeating. The ab crunch joint is a little loose. When he's standing up in an A stance or just kind of standing there stoically, he's fine, but when you try to put the arms forward, the weight of the arms kind of activates the ab crunch and he doesn't stand up straight, so that might be something I might have to figure out how to fix. And then one issue that I think all the copies of this are going to have, and I think it might just be something that might have to change in the design, but he really should have outward ratchets on the hips. You can kind of get away with friction hips in the smaller figures and stuff, but a figure of this size really kind of needs those outward ratchets to, you know, support the weight if you're going to put them in any kind of dynamic poses. The good news there is that I put some of those non-slip pads on the bottom of his feet, so he could pretty much hold any poses with no issue whatsoever there, but I still think that ratchets in the hips would help out big time. Other than that, it's worth repeating Levy's concerns about the ratchets being 3D printed. I'm not really sure how those hold up over time. My particular copy is just going to be standing there looking pretty on the shelf, and the only time I'm really going to mess with them is if I do any kind of pictures or anything, so I'm not really going to be using them a whole lot, so I'm not sure if that's really going to affect how they wear down over time or not, but it is something of note. That being said, all my praise of this thing stands. It's pretty much amazingly done for a 3D printed piece. The sculpt work, the engineering and articulation, everything is really top notch. You know, for any figure, let alone a 3D printed piece. So I'm really excited to see kind of where this company goes. I'm gonna have a close eye on the Metroplex situation, and hopefully all that stuff turns out for the best. But once again, if you're looking for a Halonix Maximus, I highly doubt anybody's ever going to do this character ever again. So I do highly recommend it if some of those issues that I mentioned aren't stuff that's really going to bother you.
Anyways, I will put links in the description for where you can find Liketoys. Tell them Mikey Mike Mouth sent you. And I think that's probably all I got to say about this. Shit.
Check us out on the Blackout Shout podcast.
Shameless plug, Blackout Shout podcast. I'll put that link in the description as well.